Hello, everybody. Welcome back. YouTube.com/GeekAloud. It's Thursday night. It's 8 p.m. So it is, of course, the Gaming Enforcement Agency. This evening, I am joined by the one and only Ace. How are you, my friend? In the second slot, no less.
Well, I started from the bottom. Now I'm here. Started from the bottom. Now I'm always here. Back in the middle spot. This is where I was probably always supposed to be, right under you, Troy. So thank you very much for having me. It feels amazing. The power is going to my head. I can feel myself. I think my ego just lifted me into this spot.
Beautiful work, mate. To the viewers at home expecting a bully or unkie, unfortunately, they're not with us this evening. They are, of course, out serving and protecting in the community. But I can tell you that the run of show is as follows. We have games, interrogation, and deliberation. That is the 5 games Ace and myself have played during the last week. And then we go into the news segment. We have 3 news stories, but the first one, boy, is it a big one. There has been a lot happening over in Germany at Gamescom. And then we have the standoff for the 3rd segment. And this week, it's... we are looking at, with Gamescom happening this week, we ask what our most anticipated game is that is yet to come out this year. And we have 3 entrants to choose from. If you've been particularly wound up by something you saw at Gamescom, please put it in the chat and we will get to it. Speaking of the chat, the 4th segment, as there's only 2 of us tonight, we can't patrol it in real time, but that 4th segment, we will go back and round up any comments that come on through into that YouTube chat. That's right, in real time. You can leave us messages, thoughts, and opinions as we go. As I said, we'll get to them at the end, but let's start this evening, as we always do, with games, interrogation, and deliberation. Okay, so first up, we have the Starship Troopers Extermination. Now, I need to know, 1, it's in early access and currently only available on Steam. Secondly, I need to let you know that I got the key sent to me, so I didn't pay for it. The developer sent me the key, which is how we were able to do the installs on the channel and, of course, capture this gameplay footage right now. But, Ace, I've got to ask you off the bat, mate, are you a fan of the Starship Troopers film?
The Roughnecks. Who's Roughnecks? Rico's Roughnecks. Let's go. Hoorah! So, yeah, very much so. Obviously, the original film, you and I had a quick chat about it early. And this is probably one of those games that really would benefit from just a strong release title, something. By the looks of the gameplay, it looks like it's going to sort of deliver on that, like a strong first-person shooter. So a bit excited for this. Won't be as excited if it's a PC only. Would love it if it gets ported over.
Yeah, man, it is currently PC only, but fingers crossed they do get it over to the consoles once it hits its full release. But I haven't even seen an indication as to when that's happening. So keep your eyes peeled. If you're a fan of Starship Troopers, I've got to say they have absolutely nailed it. As you can see on screen, everything looks right. The guns look right. The aliens look right. The drop ships look right. It sounds exactly as the movie does. So they've done a phenomenal job of representing the Starship Troopers sort of battle look throughout the game. There's no NPCs or cutscenes, so it's not like we've got any characters from the film making an appearance. But once again, it's in early access at the minute, so who knows what they may add for the full release.
Wouldn't have mind seeing Carmen.
Yeah, you and I both. It would be fantastic if they had some of the characters and some of the story points, other than obviously constant waves of aliens coming at you. But as I said, they've nailed it. On screen there, you can see they've got, it's a first-person shooter, but they've got kind of the build mechanic. Think of like Fortnite, the way you can build in that. However, this is not the instant deploy the way Fortnite is. Instead, you've got a build gun. You can see there on the bottom of the screen, you've got all the different objects you can build, and it's obviously resource constrained. So you've got to collect the resources first, but then you get there's sort of 3 waves out in the open world as you push towards your objective, and your objective is always an abandoned, well, on the maps I saw, it's an abandoned base, and then you're going in there and recapturing the data. And then once you've got that data, you call for the dropship, and then you've got to survive for about another 2 minutes, I think it is. It might be 2 minutes 30 until the dropship arrives. And in that final window, about 2 minutes or 2 minutes 30, there's no respawning, and at least one player has to make it out. Oh, I should note, it's online multiplayer only, up to 16 players. Minimum of 1. I've started around with just myself, but then had people drop in as we go. And then by the time we finished, there were 6 or 7 of us. So even once the map's going, you can have people join in, and it just makes it more guns, obviously, the quicker you can get through it, but there's definitely enemy scaling at play. So when I was just playing by myself, it was still manageable to get to those objectives, hold them, capture them, and progress forward through sort of the story of the map, if you like. But then, obviously, the more people are in there, the better. You can also break out that build gun at any time. So if you're in the middle of the field, you can sort of just build yourself a little barricade and then shoot and give yourself just a little bit of distance from you and the aliens. Everything works as expected. My main request for the developers would be, please enable a single player offline mode where we can have AI filling out the last 15 spots in the squad, because you've got your assault class, your support class that can throw extra ammo, and your healing class. If someone dies, anybody on the team can go and heal them, but the healer can throw out med packs and they revive them faster. So there's little buffs for your team. So it's class-based shooter in that sense, but there's no problem just playing it, assault or any one of the classes by themselves. As I said, they've absolutely nailed it. It looks and feels and smells and tastes exactly like Starship Troopers. So if you like the film and you like your first-person shooters, get into it. It is an absolute thing of beauty. Ace, any questions?
Has it got that sort of same Starship Troopers cheesy feel about it?
Well, no, not really. Like, a lot of the cheese comes from the dialogue, really, between the characters, and without the NPCs there, it's hard to sort of convey it. I mean, the menus that you go through have all the "would you like to know more" and everything, so they've got the flavor out in the menus. But when you're within the game, unless they add NPCs, or they could add some radio chatter to get the. There is radio chatter, excuse me. It does say, next objective unlocked, what have you, but they could, tell some in-world storytelling via that comms chatter if they want, and then they could introduce some cheese, but currently not there. Yeah. But look, it's a thing of beauty.
I could imagine very much if this gets ported over the PS5 and probably the Xbox, we'll talk about later why I need to buy an Xbox, but I could definitely see myself grouping up with a group of mates, one of them probably being yourselves, and pooping my pants as we try and fight off aliens, because between zombies and fighting off aliens in a good first-person shooter game, that's right up my alley.
The one thing I haven't seen, you do have a jetpack. I should say that. They've got good maneuverability with the jetpack, but I didn't see any way to latch onto the back of a big alien, shoot a hole in it, and then drop a grenade in it. And no backflip moves, unfortunately.
And he jumps off, and all the goo splashes on him. It's like hitting him in the side of the face, and he's sort of just like, and then he goes, "Don't you know? Used to be quarterback for the team." There'd be some. I could imagine if they added a few mechanics like that, this could be a big game.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this has all the hallmarks of an early access game that could be absolutely brilliant if they can get some of those extra features in there. But for what it is at the moment, it's an absolute thing of joy to play. I highly recommend, if you're a big Starship Troopers film fan, this is it in spades. They've absolutely nailed the look and feel. But that's it for Starship.
Last question before we go. Last question is, and obviously probably in early access, you've only got access to the sort of one level, but is it dark and that's the only level, or are there multiple levels so far that you've come across?
Yeah. I want to say there's 6 maps, but don't hold me to that. There's definitely 4. I believe there's 6 currently. And this looks significantly darker here in the footage than when it did when I was playing it. I think when I've captured it, I must have had the brightness down a bit. So I take your point. It does look particularly dark here, but that's not really doing it justice on the brightness level. There's no difficulty in seeing the battlefield. But further to your point, there is a day-night cycle. So there are maps in full daylight where you can see obviously the whole thing. But the darker look, the flashlight on it adds to, a bit of the spooky charm of the old Starship Troopers.
Yeah, as we know, I don't deal with spook too well, so I'll definitely be sticking to those daytime maps.
Oh, yeah. Here you go now, man. On screen, you can see one of the maps in full daylight there. Well, looking at the structure's not too helpful, but if you saw the run-up to it, the full daylight map. So it's fantastic stuff. I can't recommend it highly enough. If you've got a PC, check it out. All right, Ace, over to you, mate, for game number 2 this evening. Oops, that button right there. You've been playing some Tears of the Kingdom.
I tell you, I finally busted the cherry, and this is a game that I sort of mentioned, I think, the last time that I was here, that was on the catalogue, and was a definite get for me. I thoroughly enjoyed Breath of the Wild. It was probably one of the only 10 out of 10 games I've ever played, and Tears of the Kingdom has not let me down so far. Look, I tell you, the mechanics in it are just insane. You're thinking, you're playing on PS5s, one of the most advanced consoles that you can get, and then you come over to this Nintendo Switch, this small little handheld device, and it's able to deliver some stuff that you're just like, why can't other games sort of nail this? The building mechanic in this is just absolutely insane, and I can tell already I'm very early into the process of it. I've probably clocked up maybe 10 hours or something like that. But it's just got a lot to do, and there's a lot to do, and none of it ever feels like it's strenuous. You're just enjoying it. You're just going with the flow. I can't. This build mechanic is just insane. The other day I rocked up, and if anyone who hasn't played it, you won't understand. And anyone who has will just be like, yeah, I know. But I rocked up to this riverbank, and I was like, I want to get to that spot over there, and I knew my stamina was pretty low, and I was like, how am I going to get across there? And there just happened to be a plank of wood, and I also had a little fan on me, so I just built a little boat and I sailed across, and you just like the traversal now has just gone to a different level. So far, the story is pretty captivating. The way that Nintendo does, and yeah, the combat's the same. I haven't noticed too much of a change, but I found the combat really engaging, and to the point that you have to sort of really think about your battles. And I was telling a friend who came around the other night, and he saw me playing it on the telly. He goes, "Why are you playing this?" I said, "Look, I know it looks like a kid's game, but I would dare find a kid that would play this and fully understand it, because it's quite sort of mechanical. It's quite complicated in sort of the processes that you need to go about it. You need to really think about battles before you go into them. And yeah, I'm just really thoroughly enjoying it. I've had some issues with the stick drift, which your boys kindly helped me out with. So I'm sort of able to maneuver my way around that now, because trying to build little intricate devices that would help me sort of progress to the next section was becoming a real issue with this constantly moving forward mechanic. But anyway, bloody Nintendo Switch. But I tell you, I just can't recommend it enough. And look, I sort of forgot from the Breath of the Wild. I remember the first time I picked up Breath of the Wild, you get cast into the world, and you sort of, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? And the game doesn't really give you a lot of information. It gives you some key points. And I found myself the first time with Breath of the Wild quite lost. And then once I sort of gathered, they're saying, here's our world, go and enjoy it, play it the way you want to play it. And once I sort of understood that, then I was able to really enjoy it. I found, because I've probably been playing a lot of linear style games, that again, picking this up again after such a long time, I was sort of struggling a little bit at the start, going, well, where am I supposed to go? And I was running left, and I started running right, and I wasn't really going anywhere. I said, no, the game's letting you do what you want to do. Go and do it. So once I sort of got that back in my head, that this isn't sort of a game on rails, it's letting me create the adventure. Yeah. It enabled me to sort of go, okay, well, I'm going to go there. I'm going to get to that point. I'm going to get to that thing. I'm going to go over there. And so now, I'm thoroughly invested, and it breaks my heart every time I got to step away from the game. But I have been taking the Switch with me to work, just so I can play the occasional hour here and hour there, nice. Whenever I can. But it's a great game, and look, so far it's a 10 out of 10 for me.
Nice work, man. And have you sort of wandered into the wrong area and, overpowered enemies and been handed your lunch yet? Or is it...
Yeah, big time. Last night I was going to this a shrine, and I was like, very similar. A lot of the mechanics are the sort of the same, your towers and your shrines. But I was heading towards this shrine, and there was this bridge, and I thought, maybe I can get to the shrine by going to that bridge. And I started going across this bridge, and there was a cave. I'm like, maybe I'll have a quick look in that cave. And then when I got into the cave, like this dragon thing just erupted out of the middle of the cave, and it started shooting lightning everywhere. Oh, wow. And I absolutely pooped myself. So I turned around and tried to bail. And then I don't know if you remember, but whenever you got lightning is about to strike, you get those sparks going off.
Yep.
And I forgot about the mechanic entirely, that, hey, in that situation, you've got to drop your shield and drop your weapon.
Yep.
And I started riding across the bridge, like, maybe if I just get far enough away. Anyway, I got absolutely blown away. I was like, well, that's the last time I go near that guy. And there was another time, there was just this tower-looking thing. It was like blocks, and it had a red eye on the top of it. And I was like, maybe I'm supposed to go there. And I flew over there, and I landed, and this thing turned into this giant robot. And it stomped the ground once, and I thought I dodged, but no, I didn't. Yeah, so look, there's elements I like in the way this game sort of, it doesn't really change in difficulty. Like, you can take that boss on with 3 stars, and if you're at a super elite player who can predict everything, and exactly what's going on, you could probably kill that boss over a certain amount of time. You're really gonna have to wear down them, but it's sort of really it treats you by, if you go out and complete the missions and stuff, that will make it comes back, coming back to that boss will be easier later on.
Yeah.
It's just I'm so surprised, with a game like this. It comes out on Nintendo, and look, PlayStation and Xbox have done some lovely things, but this is probably not. Is this game of the year? Has already been game of the year.
It'll be up for debate come December, that's for sure.
I
Sorry,
think
mate.
you'll get there. I think you'll get there.
Yeah, I think Unky's very much in your camp of thinking this is top runner currently for Game of the Year. Oh, and I also should shout out to Bully. Thank you for providing the footage as shown here in the Let's Play. You can see Bully on screen. Unfortunately, not with us this evening. My final question for you, Ace, is can you see this? Is this sitting above like there's some big hitters yet to come out this year, but are you sort of all into this one until you've finished it before you'll move on? Or is it more like your sometimes game? Just idle in the background.
Like Diablo 4, which I was played a lot of, and I think you had me on last time I was reviewing, was really good, but I've actually gone off it. I think I got to about 45, level 45 of one character, and I started another characters because I had to go on the seasonal rewards, and I was just like, what, I'm just putting it down. But this very much has that same hold over me like the Breath of the Wild did, where I'm constantly just wanting to get back, because every time you go into the world, every little thing that you do helps you progress closer to the end of the story. So, and just the adventure factor that you just go on an adventure. Like it's very that Skyrim-esque. The world just drags you back in, and the freedom that the world provides you drags you back in. And I'm in awe of it, and I really love it. And it took me a long time to get to it, but I'm glad I did.
Nice work, man. I am so keen for the Switch 2. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, I know. When we were talking the other night, I was like, what are you doing? Why are you waiting? You're telling me Switch 2. I'm like, mate, I tell you, I had it on the Samsung QLED, and I had it on there on the dock last night, and it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, man. I'm keen. I am keen. Don't get me wrong. But I've been spending my time with Game 3 this evening. I've been hands-on with the old Xbox and the steering wheel, playing back through Forza Horizon 4. It's gotten, I think it's 3,600, might be 3,650 gamer score available, which is insane. Like by default, a game has 1,000 gamer score, and then, DLC or what have you, they can add more on. But it's up to 3,000 now, so there's so much low-hanging fruit with respect to me still mopping up trophies. So I fired up the steering wheel and I'm back in. I'm absolutely loving now, because I never even tried the drift challenges, but all this footage tonight was me just giving those drift challenges a run and just thoroughly enjoying my time with it. I absolutely love the races. I especially love it when you got the full sort of steering wheel setup, full, clutch brake, the whole shebang, mate. Do you do driving games? And what's your feel of the steering wheel situation?
Look, for me, Forza was a little bit too realistic. Like, if I'm going to play a racing game, I want it to be unrealistic. I want to hit corners at 120 kilometres an hour.
You want Need for Speed?
Yeah, I love Need for Speed. Driving through the streets, with a Nissan Skyline GDR and hitting a corner at like 65 Ks and hitting a handbrake and coming out of the corner and just accelerating out. It was amazing. The first time I tried Forza, I was just like, hang on, and then people say, no, you got to drive like a real car. I said, well, I don't drive my real car like this. That's why I'm playing a game. So, no, I can appreciate the graphics and stuff. Will you be going to see the movie?
I am so keen to see, what is it, Gran Turismo? I think it's out in the cinemas at the minute. I've just got to scratch out some time, maybe Father's Day. It's upcoming, and I might drag the family along to see it, I think.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, but look, the graphics in this, like, they've always done pretty well. But yeah, there's that realistic element. I'd like to go into games as a bit of an escape from reality, and I don't want to be cast back into it.
Yeah, fair enough. And standard warning for me, anytime I'm playing these driving games, I've really got to just sit down and calm myself before I jump in the car. Go pick up the boys from school or something and end up doing these ones around the corner. That wouldn't end too well for me. Unky Dunky would be pulling me over.
Well, maybe if you mastered this, you might not be able to catch you.
I've had Unky in the studio and seen him on Forza with the steering wheel, and that dude's real world driving skills carried over into the game. I thought I was somewhat reasonable at driving games until I saw him go, and I was blown away by that dude's skill set. It's amazing.
I know all those Force boys. They have to do that defensive driving courses and stuff like that, so they have to know how to drive. So I imagine he would be pretty good.
Yeah, I know I might get this wrong, but I think he said it was every 6 months or something. They've got to go and resit the driving test. So they are constantly back in there and sharpening their skills. And boy, does it show when he's playing one of these games. Anyway, that'll bring us on to game 4 this evening. And have you been feeling a bit of the force this week, Ace?
Well, yeah, as I've said before, my name's Luke, my wife's name's Sky, and my son's name's Walker, so I'm a big Star Wars man. Luke Skywalker, that one being. So, it was only fitting. The other day I had a couple of birthday vouchers from, can I say their name? JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah, mate, go for it.
Shout out. So I went down there, and this game and Tears of the Kingdom were the 2 games that were on my list. So I was able to get them at the right price, and so I started out with this, and I had done a lot of that on the screen, jumping off the edges of the world. And look, obviously it's been a massive upgrade in graphics. I know that this game copped a little bit of flack. Speaking to you, you didn't understand where the flack had come from, and in the start, and I'm early days, and sort of Tears of the Kingdom dragged me away. So this will probably be something I'll have to come back to. Yeah. But early days, my experience has been it doesn't feel as smooth as the original. Like I remember, everything intertwined, but I was rushing through battles, and I was getting a little bit I was getting beaten, and I only had it on the difficulty up from story mode.
Yeah,
and I was
normal, I think, or what? Jedi name of some sort, but normal essentially.
Padawan level, and I was like, well, I want that feeling of being like the supreme Jedi and just running in and cutting all these stormtroopers down, and I wasn't getting that, and I was like, oh no, like this is a Star Wars game. That's not how Jedi's fight. You need to take a little bit of a step back and have a bit of strategy to your battles. And once I clicked that into my head, I was able to start progressing through the game. The traversal feels a little bit clunky. There's not a lot of hints as towards direction that you need to go. Everything looks the same. Everything looks amazing, don't get me wrong, but one instinct, one situation I got in, I was like, I didn't know where to progress and level, and I was running around the same area going for ages, and I looked up, just happened to look up on my third run through this area, and there was a climbable wall. But there was nothing to indicate that was a climbable wall, which halted my ability to progress through that level. Yep. And that was a Coruscant. Yep. So I'm in the second world now, halfway through, and I'm finding that probably a little bit easier. I generally struggle with the city builds in this because there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening in the background, and everything in this. I mean, you can see in the video, everything is a bit bland. It's hard to distinguish between traversable versus just something that's there. And, I was trying to jump on roofs that I couldn't jump on, and thinking that was the way that I had to get up to that next level. And,
I had the exact same problems, man. Yep.
Yeah. So it's such a minor flaw that, because they've made such a polished game, but that's almost that restriction in the way that you need to go, because it's so, linear in the way that you need to traverse through the game. They feel like they're trying to give you a bit of open world, but they're not. Yeah, like it's a maze, and make your way through the maze. But I would just expect in some games, for instance, Horizon Zero Dawn, when you've got a climbable passage, there might be just a bit of yellow cloth over a climbable area. That just tweak to your eye that you go, okay, I've got to go that way. Indicate you. They've removed that from this. I struggle to hold that to blame for them, because it's a cool mechanic that you've got to work it out, but it makes it a little bit frustrating.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I can understand where holding this up against Tears of the Kingdom, I can absolutely see where the far more clear visual style of Zelda would win over this. Absolutely. To your point about the combat, I can tell you, man, when you get the 8 to 10 hour mark in, you've leveled up and you've unlocked a bunch of those skills, the battling does become a lot more dynamic, a lot more fluid, and a lot more like what it sounds like how you started wanting to play. Maybe did you play the last one? How you how you end that last one, all the move set. I think all the moves are still in here, but they've got so many counter moves now. You've got to learn all the new skills to learn all the new counters. But once, as I said, once you start unlocking those, it really does feel fluid again in combat.
Yeah, I love the first one. Don't like this actor who plays him, but anyway, I'm getting past it. It seems like one of the biggest upgrades has been that skill tree, which I don't even know if you call it a skill tree, because it's almost like a skill sphere thing, and like there's all these different like. But I was even looking at that, I'm like, oh, they've put a lot of work into this. I can see that they're trying to. Well, this is probably next to was it Star Killer? What was those games? Force Unleashed.
Yeah,
This is a really good Star Wars game, which is great because the franchise is really struggling at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, from a narrative standpoint, the films and the TV shows, yeah, they got some work to do there.
Yeah.
Excellent work, man. I hope you enjoy your time with it. I know you've been enjoying your time with MLB The Show, mate. How are you going on there?
Yeah, look, this is a bit of a cast back because this was a free game, so I won't talk on a lot. But I've been obviously we've spoken before that you and I played a bit of baseball, so and people like yourself and myself were a little bit not up to date with all the rules and regulations and stuff. So and we go out there and we do all right. So for me, I've been using this as a way to sort of hone my decision making out in the field, sort of working on sort of what I'm supposed to do with the ball when it gets to me, or sort of situational hitting and stuff like that. Not that I'm at the level where I can hit it wherever I want, but yeah, it's just a solid game. If you're into baseball, if you're into American sports, like this is if you're into this baseball specifically, it's a great game. The way that it plays, the mechanic that it plays. And if you're like me and you play a bit of baseball and you're sort of out in the field and the ball gets hit at you and you're thinking, well, what am I supposed to do in this? It rewards you for making the right move and will punish you for making the wrong move. So a lot of what I'll do with this is, if I'm at third base and I play my character at first base, third base, if a ball gets hit at me and there's a runner running from first to second, I can make it instinctual to go to second. So I kind of use this as a bit of a learning tool. But look, the gameplay in it, very enjoyable for me. And it's just one of those games that, hey, I've got an hour to burn. I can push through 2 or 3 games of this and feel content.
Yeah, and are you just playing just random pickup games or maybe the live roster, or are you playing your own season, your own character, career mode? I can't remember the name.
No, I did career mode, so yeah, did my character, and he's a slugger, and he's got a better average and better hitting than me at the moment in real life. So, but me and him are pretty close. But his name's Walker Clay, so we're pretty close. Me and Walker Clay.
Beautiful work, mate. Beautiful work. That will bring us on to the news segment. Allow me to find a button. Let's kick in a newsroom door, shall we? First up this evening. Oh, that's slightly off. Allow me to make a slight adjustment there. Look at that. Working beautifully. All right, so we are looking at now Gamescom opening night.
Bill Clinton wants Unky Dunky in that second spot. Do you hear me? Bill Clinton wants Unky Dunky in that second spot.
I don't think Unky's too happy with you there, Ace. He wants that second slot desperately.
Mate, you know what? You want to be here, stop going out there protecting and serving, okay? you want the slot, but otherwise, back in your Blue Mobile and go and get some criminals for us, mate. Thanks. I'll keep the chair warm for you.
Nice work. Thank you, Unky, for your support on this one. Now, Gamescom opening night. Now, was it last night or the night before? Geez, I am losing all sense of time and my screen isn't catching up. But it was a big show. There were a lot of announcements. I'm going to quickly read down this list, Ace, and if you hear one you want to talk about, let me know. We'll jump onto it. First up, they had Black Myth. Oh, these are headlines. That's throwing me. The next one was Crimson Desert.
That was the one I sent you today. I sent you today to have a look at because it looked like a combination between a bit of Assassin's Creed. What was the game that we spoke about before? Prototype.
Yes.
He's flying through the air almost like a steam thing, landing on the ground. There's goblins and stuff with a bit of Lord of the Rings about it. Like the graphics looked insane, the combat looked insane. There was heaps going on, fireballs and stuff getting shot everywhere. There's some sort of magic element to it, so very interested to see where they go to from that. Because it tweaked my interest, and I think I texted you as soon as I saw it.
Yeah, you did, mate. And I watched that trailer, and I'm right there with you. I'm keen to go hands on with that one. It looks great.
And just quickly on that Black Myth as well. I think I told you about this ages ago. So if you were a fan of the old Monkey Magic, they've made a game based on that lore, that Monkey Magic lore. But it looks, I'm hoping it isn't dark. What looks very Dark Soulsy, Elden Ring sort of combat system, which is going to be quite like sort of difficult. But
sign me up.
Mate, the graphics and everything look insane, and you've got the same. You've got your staff and your upgradable staffs, and he's also got the ability to transform into different creatures. One of the creatures I've seen him in one of the original video clips, he turns into a bug and he's flying, and then you transform back into your monkey self. So it looks super cool. I've been watching that. I reckon that trailer came out about a year ago. I reckon that's when I told you about it.
Yeah, you did, and I hadn't seen it until you sent that clip through today. I'd missed it, but it does look great, man. Yeah. I am keen to go hands on, but for me, I love it. It looks great. Then Little Nightmares 3. Were you a Little Nightmares fan? Obviously, it's the third one in the series, all from the same developer. Have you gone hands on with one or two at all? I haven't touched it.
No,
so it's not my wheelhouse.
Not for me. Sorry.
Fair enough there. Then they had Tekken 8 with a confirmed release date for January next year. Are you a fighting fan? Is Tekken your jam?
I don't have the thumb skills or abilities or memory to remember like the combos in those games. Like I'm just throwing high punches, low punches, kicks, and just getting my ass whooped.
Nice.
Even on the easiest difficulties.
Oh, I see. Probably not a day one purchase for your good self then. Yeah. And then what do we have? Honkai Star Rails getting a PS5 technical test. Any interest in that one, mate?
No, pass.
Fair enough. Hoyoverse, which are the guys that do Genshin Impact. Have you gone hands on with Genshin Impact at all, man? It's on, it's free mobile phones and PS5.
Yes, Genshin Impact was it was almost got that sort of Zelda feel about it. That's the one, It's a little bit sort of bit pay to win sort of Zelda pay to win sort of scheme. Very similar world, didn't. I sort of got into it, and then like they started like, oh, you got to obviously you got to pay, or otherwise you can grind, and it's just so much stuff coming out these days that you're like, you know what, I'll just go and buy the game that's complete.
Yeah,
and call games complete these days because you get smashed with DLCs. But anyway. But no, probably won't go back to this one, not with the amount of stuff that's coming out.
Oh, well, I should be clear. It's a different game, but by the same developers. But yeah, I'm with you, man. It was interesting for a bit, but after like a week, all the prompts to pay and everything, I bounced off very shortly. But then the big one for me for the show was the Cyberpunk 2077. It was the 2.0 patch, which is coming out with Phantom Liberty. That DLC, and that's not far away. Is that like 3 weeks or something? It's just around the corner. How are you with the old Cyberpunk?
So I think I told you I was a day one purchaser of Cyberpunk. A lot of promises on that game, and it really sort of let me down. It's sort of that stung me. It burnt me something shocking, and I reinstalled probably 2 months ago or something, and tried to get back into it, and really struggled. And I know I've spoken to people like yourself and some other people, and they said, mate, just give it another crack. Like, it's worth it. It's really great. And it's sort of, I don't know, once burnt, twice.
Left a bad taste in your mouth?
Yeah, I know. Some of, like, I don't know, it's like the shooting mechanics in that game similar to Far Cry. I just don't quite get around, like, where they pull up and it's not a crosshair per se.
Yep.
It's not a weapons draw, like you're sort of looking down the gun.
Yep.
It just feels a little bit clunky to me. I feel like games like Modern Warfare and stuff have really like perfected the shooting mechanics. You just wish they'd just roll that sort of over. Let's just make it universal. But I know, look, obviously a lot of people enjoy it. But I just wanted to get to those stages where I got those blade arms. But then speaking to some people, they're saying, yeah, that's like 20 hours in. I was like, what?
Bit slow, fair enough, man. But for me, I can't wait. Day one DLC for me, and the 2.0 feature update looks fantastic. Then we had Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Once again, not for me. Oh, there's say it was the date, so it's coming out February next year. Are you a Grand Blue Fantasy fan at all, man, or is that not one for your good self? Pass. Very good. How about Sonic Superstars coming to PS4 and PS5?
Could be something for the kids, but I'm holding off on the boys using the PS5 at the moment. And,
fair enough.
They have been mucking around with the Switch, and I think that might be why I've got Drift. But anyway.
Every chance. And then they also announced the Sonic Frontiers, the final Horizon story DLC coming out free in September. Now, Bully and myself went hands-on. We were big fans of Sonic Frontiers. Did you ever touch that one? It was like November last year, I think it came out.
Haven't yet, but I have heard people like yourself say, I get around this. So it might be one of those games. It's a bit family-friendly, isn't it?
Yeah, it's super family-friendly. Kids play it. You know, it's very much a kid-friendly game. The boys played it and loved it. I could totally understand waiting for it to appear in, a Game Pass or PlayStation Plus. But when that does happen, man, I highly encourage you to check it out. There's a lot of fun to be had there.
Yeah, I think that's probably where it sits.
Yep, fair call, man. And then next we've got Alan Wake 2. There was a new trailer. Did you see it? Are you an Alan Wake fan? No, you're not a big horror guy, are you?
Yeah, mate. I watched a little bit of that Gamescom, and that was one of the things that cropped up. And it wasn't even a scary scene, the scene that I saw, but I saw that the scene was going to lead to something scary, so I quickly fast-forwarded because, those Alan Wake, those horror games, not for me.
Fair enough.
I don't have to wear a nappy when I'm playing video games.
I love number one, and the remake was fantastic. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Ace, you might know, but I believe in the higher tiers of the PlayStation Plus subscription, you can now get Alan Wake remastered, the PS5 version. Now that I've said that, though, it might have actually been the free game of the month last month. Anyway, if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you should have access to Alan Wake 1. And if you haven't checked it out, you definitely should. It's a very unique game. It's a bit slower. You've got a gun in it. Obviously, it's a shooter, but it's a slow-paced shooter. Very theme-heavy, very horror-driven, but thoroughly enjoyable if it's not too scary for you. And then we had announcements for Mortal Kombat 1, but as you already said, Ace, you're not a fighting fan, so we'll move right along.
This did tweak my interest a little bit watching it because it looks like it's got almost, I don't know, I'm reading things that sort of conflict with each other. I'm hearing it seems like it's got a little bit of an RPG element to it.
It does. I'm not. Yes, I am with you there. That's how it does appear, but I do not understand how it's been implemented.
That's because I'm hearing things like story modes, different characters. Like there's almost like a bit of traversal, moving around, and then you're going to these battles. I don't know, like a Goku Kakarot sort of thing.
Yeah.
I tell you what, if it can do something like that, where you're running around, it's a bit of an RPG, building up your skills, and then you can use combos and things in fights, and like that's sort of you get to these fights, then it might be something that I might dip my finger in.
Excellent, man. Well, I've hit the wrong button. Yes, excellent. Once again, man, I like my fighting games, but I won't be lining up for this day one. But I am keen to go hands-on and understand it. It's like Street Fighter 6. I was excited by their open world premise, but I wasn't sure on how it was implemented. I didn't want to go searching in fear of spoilers, but when I finally went hands-on with it and experienced it, it was so nice to have like a refreshing change to a fighting game. So I'm all for them experimenting with genre and trying out new stuff like that. So excited to go hands-on with it and get a full understanding. Then what else did we have? The Crew Motorfest free trial period at launch. So that's pretty interesting. I think from memory, it was 20 hours? That sounds excessive now. Was it 6? Surely it was 6, not 20. But either way, to be multiple hours free trial period, that's, to me, screams that Ubisoft are really confident with what they've designed here, what they've implemented. They know they've got it from a gameplay standpoint. So that's a really strong sign from Ubisoft, I think, that this game must be really fine tweaked. Did you have you played any of the previous entries?
This is the bank robbery one, yeah?
No, the Crew Motorfest is their racing franchise. It's like a competitor to sort of the Forza Horizon series.
No. It's too realistic. But there was a Crew game, which was a robbery one, so that one tweaked my interest.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of Payday 3 is coming out very shortly.
Yep.
Would have been from that. What else did we have? Oh, Lords of the Fallen. New trailer there. Are you keen for that one?
I have tried that. That's that sort of Diablo style sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have played the first one, and yeah, it's still got that sort of Elden Ring style to it,
Yep.
which is sort of like a very, very punishing for any issues you make. And a lot of the time, I'm like, I think I sort of say it with even Zelda, like Star Wars, sorry, that I was trying to push through, because I'm trying to get somewhere in the game, and I don't really have a lot of time to sort of just sit back and like sort of grind through things. So yeah, I did enjoy it, and the graphics were very good, but yeah, look, if it came up on Game Pass or something like that, then I'd probably give it a crack.
Yeah, nice one, man. Then what do we have? Slick PS5, PS4. Shoot of the Slick PS5. Sorry, I'm like Slick. What was this game? But I'm just reading a headline. It's the first Descendant is the game with the gameplay trailer. The first Descendant, and that's not even coming to mind, man. Does the first Descendant happen to ring a bell for you?
Haven't heard about it yet. I'm going to have to do some research on this one. So it's got an interesting name, something that definitely tweaked my interest. So yeah, I'll have a look.
Excellent. Then we had Expeditions. Is the next off-road sim from the makers of SnowRunner. So Expedition, yeah, SnowRunner. SnowRunner's definitely in Game Pass, but I think it's been in the PlayStation Plus catalog as well. Did you ever go that? That was the trucks on like the ice highways where you're like a long-haul truck driver.
Yeah, next you'd be telling me I've been playing Farm Simulator or the lawn mowing simulator. So, yeah. So something about like these realistic, go and have a job, and then when you come home to play a game that's basically a job, doesn't sort of appeal overly to me. But look, obviously it's got a market because they keep making them.
Oh yeah, I can't remember now, but there was a story about how many hours people put into SnowRunner since it hit. I think it was Game Pass at the time, and just it's a massive success when people get into it. They really get into it, like Power Wash Simulator. You would think from the description of Power Wash Simulator, it's absurd and you wouldn't play it, but so many people get into it and just hit that mode, and it triggers something in them. They love it. It doesn't quite do it for me, but what have we got next here? Warhammer RTS.
This is one of those games that I keep looking. There's a lot of Warhammers that are free on the PlayStation Extra package, and I very closely click them. And real-time strategy Warhammer, I'm assuming it's going to be PC only.
PS5 gameplay.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, I think I've got to get into this world. It looks cool. These Space Marines fighting like these evil zealot things. Like it's got like a lot of not Starship Troopers, StarCraft sort of vibes about it, but like you're always in like a first person vibe. It's I don't know. It keeps tweaking my eye. So if you ever want to have a crack at it, are you versed in this world?
A little. There's, and I don't even know if they're still in there. There was definitely 2 Warhammer games in Game Pass towards the end of last year. I think they may have been pulled out since then.
No, they're still there.
Oh, there you go. But I've put maybe 4 hours across those two games in recent history, and they're a lot of fun. But it's because I'm not heavy into the lore, into the world. I'm not heavily invested, so the hooks don't hit me, but I can totally appreciate if you dropped, 10 hours into one of them and invested. I can see it's, they're top quality games. And if that world speaks to you, I can see you dropping, tens of hours into it easily.
It's got a Doom feel about it. So it's almost like StarCraft Doom.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there's something about that world. And, obviously it's very popular outside of the video game world. So look, they must be doing something right.
Oh, yeah, I think that's quite the cash cow of a franchise. And then this one says Ace all over it, doesn't it? Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 campaign, all the details, all the betas came out, man. Did that get you hyped?
Yes, it did, because apparently they're bringing back zombies, and apparently it's almost going to be in like a DMZ environment, so a big open world, and you'll go in with the squad, and there'll be like a objective that you need to get to, and you have to go there, and there'll be other teams sort of vying for it, so you might have to get gun battles with them, but the whole time there'll be like zombies throughout this world, and once you get there, you'll retrieve the objective, and then you'll have to get to an extraction point, and like the whole time you're going to get swarmed. So very, very, look, that information that I got is obviously very raw. Nothing's going to be 100% until we actually get our hands on it, but stuff like that definitely got me tingling in the nether region. So
Nice.
very, 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 very interested.
They were saying at the announcement that this is the first time they've done zombies in, like the modern warfare setting with current day guns. So interesting stuff, man. It'll be interesting to see what they pull off in, with the current systems, modern systems, if you will.
Yeah, very, very excited. And look, you put zombies and guns and a bunch of mates all in an open world. I don't see how you lose.
Fair enough. And we'll be doing the early purchase so you can get in early on the betas and the open weekends and stuff, or we just wait for the free open weekends?
I'll just wait. Come on, I've got. I don't even know how many hours is Tears of the Kingdom going to suck out of my life. By the looks of things, it might be the rest of my life. Yeah.
Fair enough, man. I love it. But that's it for Gamescom. It was quite the enjoyable experience. Now, the big question for you, Ace. Oh, you weren't here for it. Twisted Metal. Did you get into it?
The show?
TV show. Yeah.
You gave me some access to it, and so I watched the first episode. I was kind of like, okay. I think I have told you, Andrew Mackie and me have a bit of a checkered past, and I don't like him. But look, the first episode was interesting, and then the second episode was interesting. I kind of like the sort of style of it. It's very sort of quick jab, sort of, that humor with a lot of seriousness, but, that action-paced thing. But Andrew Mackie's such a turn-off for me.
Yeah.
I think I was telling you about another show that I watched, Altered Carbon. Season 1 was phenomenal. I don't know the guy's name, but he was the actor who did RoboCop, the latest right. RoboCop. And then they did season 2, and Andrew Mackie sort of came in, which, wasn't affecting the storyline at all. Because if you've watched the show, and every time I see him, I'm just like, God damn it. Like, he just gives me the irrits. And I can't help but feel like if it just was anybody else, like Jamie Foxx, please, somebody, just anyone else other than Andrew Mackie, because I really can't stand him.
Fair call, man. So, news story 2 is Amazon's Fallout TV show is coming in 2024. What's your feelings on this post-Twisted Metal TV show, man? Do you think they're going to stick the landing?
Seeing some of the screenshots, I think there's some leaked footage of the power armor and some of the mutants and stuff like that. It looks very cool. This is got a massive world, and they can really build something amazing out of this. But with Amazon, with some of their latest procurements, I have this feeling that they may just completely ruin this somehow. And I just hope they sort of stay off that woke bandwagon and just really sort of just let's focus on the world, let's build this world, and because this could be their Game of Thrones if done rightly.
Yeah, if done right, it could be. But I got to tell you, the recent history, like Fallout 76 not being much chop at launch, and then the Twisted Metal TV show didn't do it for me either. I bounced off after 2 episodes, and then the Halo TV show. I'm really not I would love for there to be a great Fallout TV show, but I do not think that I haven't seen anything that suggests they're going to pull this off at all. So I'll definitely watch the first episode, but I'm not holding my breath that I'd be investing myself any longer than that.
You just feel like if this was in HBO's hands, you'd be like, sweet, it's all good. We're on to a winner. But yeah, I don't know.
What was the last Amazon big hit TV show you can think of? I can't think of a one.
Omni-Man.
Oh, there you go.
Invincible.
Did they do The Boys? Is it Boys or The
Oh,
Boys?
yeah, and The Boys. Yeah, they did The Boys.
Yeah, Unky sings that one's praises. So maybe I'm being a little harsh.
The Boys is great, and anyone out there is into sort of anime, Invincible. It's a great show about a superhero, young boy who's the son of a Superman-esque in a different world. And it's you watch the first episode, and you will be hooked.
Beautiful. High recommendation. I'll have to check it out. Now, story 3. Let's dig a little deep into the Call of Duty news, shall we? We have the dates. Where are we? This is the one I'm looking for. If I go one of those, there we go. So for those interesting, pre-order, and then you can get access on PlayStation October 6th and 7th. And then, so that's if you pre-order, but then on the 8th through the 10th of October, you get anybody on PlayStation can get into that open beta and check it out. So that'll be our first chance, Ace, October 8th, although it's America, October 8th. So it'll probably be October 9th for us. Is that Father's Day? No, September.
No.
I'm a month off.
Yeah. You're a bit ahead.
That can happen. And then weekend 2 is October 12th through 13. Check this out, mate. It's Xbox and PC and open beta for PlayStation. Oh, this is a different one than I saw. There was a different graphic that they put out. I think it was on Twitter. It was essentially this graphic, but in the October 12th through 13th window, they had they noted that it included the what's the Blizzard launcher? Battle.net? It said open beta, Battle.net, and then Steam as well. But I thought interesting because I would have sworn they released a story about 6 months ago saying they were closing down the Battle.net service in future. Like they'd given a date. Oh, Battle.net's coming offline on this date. So I was just fascinated to see that. I wondered if it had anything to do with the, Microsoft Activision acquisition, whether that's changed their plans for Battle.net or who knows what's going on there. But thought it very interesting that they were promoting Battle.net in their advertising for the beta weekends. And then finally, October 14th through 16th is all platforms. Come and play as you like. So they're the dates. Get excited. And I'm just looking here quickly. There you go. And the full release of the game be available to purchase November 10. So we're only a couple of months away, Ace.
Am I going crazy? When was Modern Warfare 2 released?
That was last year's. Modern Warfare 2 re-release was last year, or, whatever they called it, because it wasn't a remaster. It was a weird hybrid thing, but that came out last November.
Have I been playing DMZ for a year? That game has sucked some hours out of me. So, this came around very quickly. So, actually a little bit excited now. I thought this might have been an early development. All this was, sort of due for like a next year release, but okay. All right.
No, coming in hot this November.
Yeah, we'll be spending some time over the Christmas holidays.
Oh, yes. Expect plenty of coverage on the channel.
Yeah.
And that's it for the news stories this week, which brings us to Game Informer's list of the games coming out this week. Off the top is Age of Empires. We were talking about RTSs earlier, Ace. Are you an Age of Empires fan at all?
Back in the old school, when you could use the old cheat that gave you the Lamborghini with the rocket launcher. So, I don't mind these sorts of games. The RTSs, I've got a little bit of a soft spot for me. This and sort of Civilization, StarCraft, Warcraft, all those sorts of things. So,
yeah.
Look, Xbox Series X, Xbox One, unfortunately, that puts it outside of my realm. But unless Starfield gets me across, which it just might.
Oh, yeah, I love the look of it. I'm so excited for that one. Looking forward to it. But before that comes out, we have Fort Solis. Now, that was announced and dropped live on as part of Gamescom. Troy Baker and two other actors whose names I'm forgetting came out on stage. They were the three motion capture actors for Fort Solis. It looked a little bit walking simulator, a bit narrative heavy, and maybe a bit kind of like an Alan Wake. Thriller is the word I'm looking for. It looked like a sort of a dark thriller, maybe a walking simulator, possibly. I wasn't entirely sure on that, but did that one grab your attention at all, mate?
No, I haven't heard too much about that one, so I'll wait to hear back from you on that.
Fair enough. I'll be waiting for it to hit a Game Pass or equivalent, so I won't be going hands-on anytime soon. But then out also on August 22nd was Immortals of Avium. Now, Unky Dunky has said he was keen for it, but nothing about this game speaks to me at all. Nothing's making me keen. Has anything grabbed your eye other than the fact that Game Informer's given it an 8?
Well, when it said Immortals, I thought it might have been linked to Phoenix Rising, which I recently completed and I very thoroughly enjoyed. So I was kind of like, oh, hang on, is this going to be number 2 of that? But by the looks of it, it's not going to be that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll just we'll wait to see a few people come out and play it and then give their reviews and let me see some game footage and stuff before I make a decision.
Perfect. Hopefully Unky Dunky's back with us next week and maybe he will have gone hands-on and have a review for us then. And then coming to PC is Marvel Snap. I've no interest in that one, Ace. If you've got anything, or should we move along?
Pass.
Fair enough. Smurfs Kart coming out PS5, Xbox X and S, PS4, Xbox One, August 22nd as well. I assume it's a kart race similar to Mario Kart, but I know nothing other than this cover right here.
Is this their answer to Mario Kart? Like Smurf is
look-
Smurf still an IP that's making money?
Well, what was the Hank Azaria films? But I feel like they were like 2014, maybe. I feel like it's been 10 years since they've really done anything with it.
Yeah, maybe there's some IPs that you maybe just need to let stay in the graveyard. Don't try and dig them up every now and then.
Fair enough, man. How about WrestleQuest? That sounds like something that might grab your eye, mate.
Yeah,
PlayStation,
I'll have to have a look at
Xbox,
that.
Switch,
Ooh.
PC, August 22nd.
Looks like that might be Ultimate Warrior up the top there. So yeah, that could be something that Ace has a little look at.
Nice. How about some Blasphemous 2? This is like a horror game, and I think you'll be giving it a wide berth. But that one comes to PS5, Xbox X and S, Switch, and PC on August 24. That's today, Ace. That one came out. Game Informer gave it an 8.7.
Jeez, some of these people are just gluttons for punishment. You know, jeez. That looks the title, the cover looks scary as hell. So yeah. I'll wait to see.
Fair enough. And then we have Unpacking coming to iOS and Android. That was today as well. I played that one on Xbox. Once again, it was kind of like a power wash simulator. It didn't really do it for me, but some people just throw hours at it. You know, one of those real Zen gaming experiences. You're just unpacking boxes. That's all you're doing. Like you're moving into a new house constantly. For me, that sounds like a lot of hard work that I don't want to do. How about you, mate? Do you ever go hands-on?
The last time I moved house, I swore to myself that I wouldn't ever do it again because it's a very painful process. But yeah, I don't know what it seems to be with these weird simulator style games. I did tell you I was watching this lawn mowing simulator the other day. I was watching some guy do that, and I was like, and then this is the stupidest idea for a game ever. And then like about 5 minutes in, I'm like, I could see myself. I get a truck, and then I go around and get contracts and stuff. So I was like, okay, this must be why people get into it. So, but no, I won't be unpacking again.
Well, just quickly calling back to the steering wheel, mate, I can confirm for you that Lawn Mowing Simulator does indeed have the real-world steering wheel support, so you can be sitting on your couch with the steering wheel mowing lawns at 2K an hour.
Have you played it?
Yeah, I went.
Did it suck you in?
No, it didn't do it for me, but I'm not, those sort of things don't really light me up. But I can tell you, Unky Dunky was in the studio and he went hands-on with the steering wheel and he said he loved it. He went home and installed it on his Xbox. I think it's still in Game Pass. So if you've got Game Pass, check it out. It's such a unique thing. Like I'd say check it out, but for me, it was like 10 minutes and I'm done. Thank you very much. Moving on.
Yeah.
And then finally, coming out tomorrow from the makers of Elden Ring comes Armored Core 6. Are you interested at all in this? It's obviously not a Soulsborne game, but it is FromSoft's newest game.
If this is that game where you can build your robot and you go into cities and you battle, that I played like one of the very early, might have been number 2 of this.
Back in PS1 type days?
I think it was the Xbox, the original Xbox. Yeah, right. The original Xbox. If it's that game, I kind of enjoy them. Like that concept of building your own mech and going in and fighting other mechs and having objectives and sort of having to move your way through. I kind of liked it, and then sort of mucking around with the build of your mech because you go in and like, okay, there was more heavy units, so you needed to armor up and maybe slow down a little bit. But yeah, these sorts of games, I definitely, look, if it came up on Game Pass, I'd probably get it installed straight away.
Yeah, nice. Myself, I'm contemplating trading in a few games to go out and pick it up tomorrow, but I've not quite decided yet. I might wait for a few more review scores. I was hoping for a 9, not an 8.25 from Game Informer, so I might have to sniff around a little bit and find a few reviews and see what the general consensus on Armored Core is. But I was incredibly hyped for this game. Very much a huge fan of FromSoft, so anything they do, I am keen for. But that is it for the new releases this week, which means it's time for the standoff. Who will fight? Who will fight? As we said, it was Gamescom this week, and so we saw a lot of games coming out the rest of the year. We've picked the 3 biggest ones to discuss this evening, and Ace, I'm just trying to work out which one we're most excited for here. Entrant number 1 this week, we already mentioned it, Starfield, obviously coming to Xbox. September 6th, this one comes out, so just around the corner. I've got an Xbox, it'll be in Game Pass. I'll be all about this day one. I'm a huge Bethesda fan from their, history of, Oblivion, Skyrim, all the Fallout games, obviously. So space sci-fi set in that mold, sign me up. I'm keen. How about yourself?
Mate, I tell you what, you might come home one day and find your Xbox is gone and I'll be at my house because I am keen as mustard. And I don't even know what that saying means, but put mustard on me because I want this game. And this, last Xbox I had was the 360, and but this might make me go back out against my vows because I got the 3 Rings of Death and I said never again. But this could be the game that brings me back, and I might just have the PS5 and the Xbox one sitting side by side solely because of this. You know, I went and bought the Switch just for Breath of the Wild, and this could definitely make me go and buy an Xbox just for this.
Very nice, man.
It looks absolutely insane.
It does. I am so keen. I can't wait to see. The big question in the back of my mind is is it going to be your old school bug-ridden Bethesda release for the first couple of weeks until they get a few hot fixes out? Or, as Bully and Unky both swear to me, there's no way Xbox are going to release a buggy version of Starfield. They swear black and blue this thing's going to be polished to a fine sheen. But
How many pushbacks has this had?
Yeah, a fair few. Because was the original release date 11/11 last year, or that might have even been the first pushback date. It was certainly meant to be out November last year, but then it's had a significant pushback, obviously. So in theory, it should be bug free or close to.
My only concern is that I just hope they don't do like a Cyberpunk and release like a half-finished game that's going to make me go out and buy an Xbox for it, and then I just regret my days. But look, everything so far, the combat, the traversal, the travel. I think I heard there's 1,000 planets. Each individual is just everything's just like yes, and more yes. So I tell you what, it's getting me excited.
Excellent, man. Well, I hope you'll come back and tell us if it does, in fact, get you to buy an Xbox. I think that would be a massive vote of confidence. But as I said, regardless of any state of thing, I'm definitely going hands-on to check this one out. Highly anticipated for myself. I've dropped so many hours into their previous open world games. I can only imagine how many I'm dropping into this one.
Yeah. Might retire from life.
Entrant 2 this week. Do you fancy swinging into some Spider-Man 2 action, Ace? Were you a Spider-Man 1 fan and Miles Morales?
Big fan. And like played all the Spider-Man games, and obviously the previous one was the best iteration of all of them. You know, they really sort of polished it. They gave it a great story, and by the looks of things, they've just taken that to the next level. And you know, you only had to tell me black suit, I was in, because you know I love that symbiote suit and I love that story arc, and you know, and it looks like doesn't look like the main villain will be sort of Venom, so I can't wait to face off against him. So yeah, I'm very excited, and I tell you what, even if they add like a Venom playthrough, I think it was Spider-Man versus Venom on the old PlayStation that gave you the ability to play around with Venom, like then I mean, look, the gameplay just looks phenomenal. So, look, I'm excited for this. I definitely will be getting this. That Starfield. Oof.
Sorry. I was going to say also, this one's coming out 20th of October this year. So September 6th for Starfield, 20th of October for this one. I absolutely love the original Spider-Man by Insomniac Games and the Miles Morales and the DLC. I've, finished and platinumed all those. So I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. I'm interested that this one's going to include areas beyond the Manhattan Island. So I think we're looking at Queens here, maybe. But it'll be interesting to see how they go with the swinging mechanics when you're in the suburbs and there's no skyscrapers around. I'm not quite sure whether, is there new traversal options, with the black suit? Does the Venom suit give you something, so there's low buildings aren't going to be an issue because you're still going to be able to have that momentum up thanks to that Venom suit? I'm not sure. But I'm very interested to see what they do with it and can't wait, especially after, I don't know, did you see, was it not Across the Spider-Verse? I think it's still in the cinemas now. But did you see the most recent Spider-Man animated film, man?
I started watching it the other day with the lads. I got some early access. It was enjoyable, but we had some stuff to do, so I sort of left it about halfway. Yeah, that movie got a little bit long in the tooth. I don't know how you felt with it. Were you captivated from start to finish? Oh my
god, I loved it. And the thing that blew me away, I was in the cinemas watching it with my son. It was a pretty full cinema at the time, and it gets to the end of the film, mid sort of action scene, and then bang, the big "to be continued" comes up. And before I even knew I did it, I yelled out in the cinema, "No!" no. I am so invested in that story. I cannot wait. And I think it's March next year, March 24. The next part of the story comes out. So it's only, 6 months away or something at this point. But the conclusion of that film can't come quick enough. And in that film, they've got the Spider-Man from this game. Just briefly, he's in one of the shots. He's one of the Spider-Men. And it's just phenomenal. I'm such a Spider-Man fan. I can't wait. So highly looking forward to Spider-Man. This game's got to be easy and 9.5 in my mind, and I'll be blown away if Insomniac don't pull a 10 off with it. Sign me up. I can't wait. Yep. Now, I don't think you're going to be putting your weight behind Entrant 3 this week in Alan Wake 2, but it's certainly on my radar. I'm keen to go hands-on with this day one and see what they do with the story. And as they've announced, it ties in now more closely with Control. And what's the other one? Quantum Break. They've got, they're really trying to combine their games and include them all in sort of the one universe. And so there's a lot of potential here. I loved what they did with the first one. It's their own take on the game. And then they're, as I said, expanding that universe. So they've got a lot of room for a lot of really interesting storytelling. It's kind of up there with like your, Twilight Zone, Stranger Things kind of stuff, or X-Files. It's got that real sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Paranormal activity stuff going on. A lot of interesting narrative hooks they can put in there, but that's very much more a story beat thing for me, more so than a gameplay. Whereas the Spider-Man 2 is going to be all gameplay. Like, I love their stories, but I'm in it for the swinging. I'm in it for that moment-to-moment gameplay loop. Whereas Alan Wake, I've got to be in the mood to sit down, take my time with it, and just take in the story slowly through the environmental storytelling. But is it on your radar at all? I'm suspecting not.
No, man. Watching some of this footage, zombies coming out of you, pulling flares, and there's this arms and stuff hanging out around. Like, oh, those jump scares! I tell you what, they get me every time. I don't think my heart can handle it.
Fair enough. Well, in that case, where are you putting your chips? It must be entrant 1 or 2 for your good self this evening.
Yeah, look, I love Bethesda. I've put more hours into the Fallout series and Skyrim series than I care to know. So for me, even that platform changeover, it's got to be Starfield. I just feel like, as good as the Marvel Spider-Man 2 is going to be, like Starfield, we're going into a whole different world. We're about to experience something, sort of not done. And Mass Effect sort of touched on it, and I feel like these guys, Bethesda, are the company that could potentially perfect that entire Mass Effect sort of style. And I'm very excited, and I'm hoping it lives up to the hype.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. It's a unanimous consent that Starfield wins tonight. As I said, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, but I'm not seeing, to your point, man, it's not going to be revolutionary. It's going to be an extension of the gameplay we've already seen in Spider-Man and Miles Morales. So it'll be icing on the cake, but Starfield is its entirely new dish. So 100% I'm with you, man. Starfield, a winner is you for tonight's Standoff as the most anticipated game yet to come out this year, which brings us to the final segment, Ace. And I have to switch tabs and hope that it works this evening for audience integration to see what's been happening in that there YouTube chat. And it's not looking good. I don't think my tab's going... Nope, I am just going to go ahead and say, no, my computer's broken. I am terribly sorry. If you've been in that YouTube chat, I apologize. I can't see. The chat's not loading at all. Man, technology is failing me beautifully. If you did participate in the chat, thank you very much. We appreciate it when you can get into that chat. Next week, hopefully, I think there'll be 3 of us back, so we'll be across that chat all through the show next week. My apologies for not really being able to cover it tonight, but that will do us for this evening. We are officially off duty. So, Ace, thank you very much, mate, for picking your sucks up and filling in that second slot and carrying us over the line, mate. Couldn't have done the show at all without it this evening. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure to be here. Always love to talk about video games. I tried to jump on the chat to see if I could see anything happen on my phone, but it's also not letting me do it either.
Dang. Oh, well. That'll do it for this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously, check out the channel. We'll have more Let's Installs happening throughout the week, and we will be back next Thursday night for more Gaming Enforcement Agency. What else can you do with Geek Aloud? Like it, subscribe it. You'll never miss it. Oh, that was luck. Hey, that's something.
Oh!
Old Uncle Donkey. Donkey.